Hello and welcome to the Critically Curious on a Monk, and today, yes, we are doing a video on Age Mythology Retold. Today's video, however, is going to be focused on immortal pillars because we just got access to the Chinese culture. It's a DLC that we've been waiting for a very long time. With it, we got 3 major new gods, a slew of minor gods, loads more powers, loads more units, and a little bit more. So we decided to do a little video about how best to play them, what makes them unique, how to gather faith, etc., and everything like that. So if that's the kind of video that you want to see, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel that we don't miss out on more videos just like this. We have also covered every other culture in the game so far, so if you want to see how one of those ones work, you can check the playlist. We've got lots of videos on this game. Now, loading up into a skirmish, we can see that we do have 3 major new gods. Now, just how overpowered they are compared to the rest of the cultures in the game is yet to be seen, but I do think that one stands out above the others, and we are going to go over them within this video and exactly why I think they are so good. Now, the first thing I think we should point out is these brand new gods actually have a unique ability. Every single one of them has a unique god blessing, which essentially is an extra power. If we look at every other god in the game, there really isn't any bar one that has 4 passive powers, that being Poseidon. But as we can see, all the Chinese gods have 4, exactly 4, and every single one of them has a unique blessing. It's a god blessing, and just changing the game slightly. So take a close look at that. First of all, we have got the yin and yang, obviously, on the first god. That is a clock that is constantly ticking in the background of your game. I believe it changes every 10 minutes. 1 minute it is boosting your peasants, the next minute it is boosting your army. Either way, keep an eye on it and you may be able to time it just right for the perfect attack on an unsuspected victim. Now, what makes Fuxi so good is actually the research. He gets a boost within research. In fact, it's 300% faster to research anything to do with buildings, which is pretty fast, so ×3 on all researches there. Also, military camps and workshop editions are also 50% cheaper. And if you make it to age 4 with them, you also get the ability to choose a dragon, competing possibly with a Norse dragon. Reminder, this is also a summoned in god power, so you can essentially have a lot of them. Now, Nuwa is interesting for a couple of different reasons. The one I like the most is on favoured land, foundations are automatically constructed. That's really strong. We're going to go looking at that a little bit later in the video, but she also has the ability of creation. She can essentially summon extra gatherers. They are around for an extra few minutes, but essentially gives you more hands for gathering resources. Now, out of the 3 gods, I really do think that she is the strongest god, and we're going to be showing you exactly why I think that a little bit later in the video. But, you know, the ability of creation and the ability of auto-construction is really, really strong abilities. And I wonder perhaps if she is the most overpowered god currently in this game. Now, Shennong has the most text when it comes to, you know, his unique abilities and what makes him him. The myth units that you have can recover health rather quickly on favored land, being him, meaning that a defensive way to battle could work really well. Also, farms are available from the very go. They also build instantly, and you also get some free researches as you age up here too. Not to mention, his passive ability is that you get a myth unit every time that you level up or age up, so you get a few extra units here. Now, the Chinese culture is unique in a sense. You get two starting units. You get the Kafu, which is essentially a giant peasant. He can do everything that the peasant can do, everything that your villager, your basic unit can do, except for he does a few things just that much better. Now, it says that he's very, very good at gathering gold and wood and very quick at putting up buildings. However, the catch is he does cost favor in order to make more of them. So is it going to pay off? Well, I'll show you just how good he is in just a second. Now, if we go over to the peasant, as you can see, the peasant is your regular dude. He can build pretty much any building, both, agricultural buildings, houses, and military buildings as well. That's exactly the same for the Cafu. Now, if we get both units to both harvest the gold from the very off, you can see something really interesting. So let's call the peasant over to this gold. Now, the Cafu can hold 20 gold, it can harvest 20 gold, and it does it at 2.5 per second, which is a massive advantage over the peasant. And again, the peasant can only hold 10 gold at a time as well. So seriously, they are rather good. Are they worth the favor investment? Well, I think later in your game, absolutely. Now, we also mentioned about the creation. Now, creation is really good, and this is on the god that I did say that I believe is a little bit overpowered. As you can see, we can summon in some clay peasants, and of course, the clay peasants can harvest pretty much anything a regular peasant can do, and if you summon them later in the age, you'll actually be getting more peasants as you go on as well. Another thing about the Chinese, they have to drop the materials in either your town center or, of course, a silo, and it's the silo in which where you can research all of your normal little upgrades and make sure your gathering is that much faster later in the game as well. Now, I think Favour is something that we should talk about. I think Favour is so important when it comes to Age of Mythology. Now, with the Chinese, as you can see, when I go to place a building, there is kind of like an aura, an extra circle, an extra piece of land around the building that you are placing. You can see in yellow the favored land. This is going to be getting me more favor. So the more that I expand, the more land that I essentially own is going to be generating me more and more favor. Now, just how fast you actually gather this favor compared to the other nations, I think some more play testing is going to have to be shown here, just to show just how much land you actually need to have in order to generate that favor. But it's a really unique way of play. Now, this is the same with the houses. You do get 16 houses to put down. And with those 16 houses, you're going to be able to cover quite a large portion of land. So it goes really well with them. The Chinese also get 100 peasants, not the Atlanteans 50, for instance. So as you can see, you're going to be having lots of peasants, lots of houses, lots of land, lots of buildings. The more you have, the better with these guys. Now, the third unit that we actually start with is called a pioneer. They are a hero, and it is them that you can use in order to grab the artifacts. But they have a lantern that you can essentially stand up into the air into any direction, and it enables you to scout more land quicker. So they're kind of an interesting scout unit. Also, within the town centers, you have the ability to call forth a terracotta army, the terracotta riders to be exact. Now, very much like the mercenaries you can hire as the Egyptians, these guys do die over time. Their health pool essentially drains out. Something that's unique about the Chinese is that you can only do it once per town center. So very interesting to keep that in mind. It's a once in per town center thing. It should keep you from getting run down early game though. Now, Nuwa has the unique ability to summon walls. around any building that you own. But something that should be explained is that the health on those walls is a general thing. So you have like, I think it's around 1300 health once they're up and ready, but that's 1300 health for every single wall within that circle. Once 1300 health has been destroyed, every single wall associated with that ring will collapse and be destroyed. So I think you really need to understand that before relying on them. It's a pretty useful defense, to be fair. It can bide you some time. It can also be multi-layered, and you know, these walls do go up and down depending on you moving troops in and out of the base as well, so you don't need a gate, for instance. Now, earlier in the video, we did mention the auto-construction. Now, this is on favored land, don't forget. So this is, you know, land associated with our own empire. It's so powerful, so I just wanted to show that off in this video as well. Essentially, you can put down tower after tower, or layers of, you know, improved walls after improved walls. Now, remember, walls build incredibly quickly. Towers a little bit slower, but as you can see, it is automatically building without anyone being here. So in other words, you can grab a villager or a peasant anywhere in the map and then just essentially set down towers and walls and defense and buildings just absolutely out of thin air. It's really powerful. I feel like it's going to be very overpowered, and I feel like you're going to be able to spam massively with this. And while we're still on Nuwa, she also has access to this, potentially the most overpowered spell in the Chinese culture. Now, I have already mentioned the wave, the giant wave that you can create. That was on the other video to do with the Chinese that I recently done. However, this thing is just incredibly powerful, and I'll show you exactly why. As you can see, this is our lovely little army, and we are approaching the enemy's camp. We just need to, you know, reveal a slight bit of fog of war. Remember, you could use a flying unit to reveal the fog of war. Now, if we pop this down here over a rather important building, and as you can see, not only does it last for a long time, but it's absolutely devastating to buildings. It's really, really good. And you're going to be able to spam this late game as well. But there we have it, guys. That is my overview to the Chinese gods. Let me know down in the comments what you think of these gods. Is it going to be a race that you're going to be using? What's your favorite one? Have you already tried them out? Or are you unfortunately like one of the many users at the moment that are struggling to download the DLC? Let me know down in the comments. I've been a monk, we've been Inquisitively Curious, and I will see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy, and of course, as ever, guys, happy gaming.